Okay, it's already 8 o'clock, and I think I'll just begin our session tonight on maximizing the digital resources that's available through STM. STM has actually subscribed to quite a number of digital resources that includes academic journals and also ebooks that will be helpful for us, particularly in times like this where we can't access the physical library. So there's a plenty of digital resources out there that we could tap into it and use them. And I'll also show you not only how you could use or you can capitalize on the digital resources that we have through STM library. I'll show you also other means where you might be able to access other materials that you may need for your assignments, for your essays, or for your research that you might be working on throughout your time with us in the seminary. I'll also be sharing with you some tips how you could do your searches, how you could make full use of all the resources, and share a little bit of insight how you go around getting some free stuff. Hopefully what I'll be sharing with you are actually rather legal means. It's legal, it's not illegal, it's legal means where you could access all these valuable resources that might be of help for your own work. Okay, so let's just begin, and allow me to share screen. Before that, there is actually a handout I'm going to give out. It's actually a PDF on maximizing digital resources. I'll be referring to that handout, and Honye will be putting that handout in the chat box. So please refer to the chat box for those of you who have just come in, and you may download that. I'll be referring to it as we move along. Okay, let me just proceed and share screen. Let me just start with our STM website. So if you go to stm.edu.my and click on facilities and click on the library and then click on the online resources, you will see here a list of online resources that the library has subscribed to. And all these actually made available free for all of you who are STM students, whether you are a full-time in-campus student, part-time in-campus student, TE students, or our postgrad student, whether you're in the Master of Ministry, Doctor of Ministry, or our Master of Theology program. So for this year, you have access to all these digital resources free of charge. And I believe the library have already sent out emails to all of you to contact them so that they can give you all the login ID. So if you have not done so tonight, please write into library@stm2.edu.my. You can see the email right on the top here. And then please write into the library, and Christabel, our librarian, will then give you all the necessary login ID. So this page in our STM website shows us all the digital resources that we subscribe to. We actually spend a lot of money. I think we are spending about 70 or 80,000 ringgit a year subscribing to all these digital resources. So please make full use of it, right? So I'll be sharing how we can do searches on Atlas Religion Database, or sometimes we call it Atlas, ATLAS. I'll be sharing briefly how we can use Bureau Religious Studies journals. I'll be talking a bit about a Global Digital Theological Library. This Global Digital Theological Library covers journals and ebooks, whereas Atlas, right, number one. Number two, Brill, it covers only academic journal. GDTL, or Global Digital Theological Library, includes ebooks as well. And I'll be talking about JSTOR, and if we have time, I'll refer briefly to Sage journals and also T&T Clark Library. I'll be talking a bit about Pelego as well, and also Script. So these are some of the online resources that we have, but these are subscription-based, which means you need a login ID. Now, another way that you could go in to check out is actually the free online resources that we have. The library has provided all the links here. So these are all free that you can tap into it. You can look at Atlas Digital Library, Baker's Evangelical Dictionary of Biblical Theology. You can look at Bible Gateway. You can look at Bible Odyssey. And then you can look at the DOAB, Directory of Open Access Books, that covers books related to philosophy and religion, particularly if you want to do courses on theology. This is where you should go to. And there's also Global Ethics Network Library. There's also JSTOR, open access ebooks as well. It's a bit more limited, but there are some good books there. And I'll be talking about SBL online books later on, because there's a lot of massive academic books in biblical studies that are available for us. Script as well, I'll be talking about it later on. So there are plenty of resources that are actually available for all of us to do our research, more so in the present situation where we cannot access physical library. So there's no excuse to say, oh, I cannot access any books, or I don't have any library near me. No, this is no longer an excuse in our present age, because all these are more than sufficient, more than enough for all of us who are actually doing any sort of research, even up to postgraduate level. Even for my own research, I'm relying many of these digital resources for my own research. So it is sufficient for all of us at the moment. Hey, let me just move on and share the handout that I've asked Honyi to put it up there. And this is a handout that I mentioned earlier on that Honyi had put it up on the chat box that you can download. Now, some of these resources I'll be covering, which already I highlighted to you, that's available in our library website. I'll go through some of these later on. I'll also share tips with you how you're going to build your bibliography, where you're going to search for material. Let's say you have a research topic in mind. There's an assignment that you're going to do. I'm going to demonstrate to you. I'm going to use one of the assignment based on my class. Say, for example, you are to do a research on 1 Corinthians chapter 11 on the very controversial topic, women and head covering that Paul mentioned in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 2, right up to verse 16. Now, where do I go and look for all these resources? Where do I go and look for all the commentary on 1 Corinthians that I need to consult? Where do I go to look for journals article that could help me in my own research? So I'm going to use that as a test case to demonstrate for us how we can make full use of all the resources that's available. Okay, so we're going to look at some of these digital subscriptions that we have. Now, assuming you have searched all these things and you still can't find what you need, I'll talk about Pelego. I'll talk about Script later on. And after that, we're going to talk about some of the free resources that's available. And other than that, if you still cannot find what you need, I will show you some other ways that you can search for Amazon Look Inside feature. You can search for Google Books and Google Scholar. You can search via academia.edu. And on the last resort, you may write into the author. If you find a book and you cannot find it online, as a last resort, you can write into the author. I tell you, if you write into the author, they will be flattered that you find their work worthwhile, and they will be more than happy to give you a PDF or scanned copy of the relevant section of the chapters that might be useful for you. Don't ask the author for the full book, right? Just ask, okay, I need this particular chapter, pages 16 to 34. Would it be okay for you to give me a scan for me? Most authors will be obligated or obliged to give it to you. They'll be flattered, right? So these are some of the things that I will cover this evening. Now, let me just start by sharing some basic tips, how we can use some of these basic tips in our search engine. Let's say if you want to search Google, or you go to JSTOR, or you go to Atlas series, how are you going to start looking for your search? Now, one of the key ways of doing it is actually to key in the Boolean search, where you use the word and, or not. Let's say you are looking for the life of Jesus, but you want to look for life of Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew and not the Gospel of Mark. So you may key in Matthew, not Mark. So you're telling the search engine to search for everything that's related to Matthew, but not Mark. Or what if you only want to concentrate on Matthew and Mark? You don't want to look at Luke and John. And then you can tell the search engine to search for you Matthew, and make sure it's in capitals, and Mark. So you search for you Matthew and Mark. You will not search for you John, and you will not search for you the rest of the keyword. If you want something like Matthew or Mark, either Matthew or Mark, you can key Matthew or Mark. And so this is one way of you doing your search, right? Now, another way of doing your search, right, in the search engine is to use a quotation mark such as this. Let's say you want to talk about Paul and faith, or the faithfulness of Jesus debate. Then you can put in quotation mark Paul and faith. So you're telling the search engine to search for any citation that has Paul and faith together in the quotation mark. So this is be good if you want to search for specific words or specific key phrase, right? So if you put in the more words that you put in, the search will be more narrow and more specific. You may not get all the results, right? Another way is to look for to use wildcards. Now, wildcards, there are a few ways that you can use wildcard. For example, this asterisk is a good way. Now, what you're telling the search engine to do is, let's say you use the word child with the word asterisk at the back. You are telling the search engine to search for the word child plus any words that come behind, right? So the search engine will give you the result on the word child. You give you the word children because REN is behind the word D here. It's represented by the asterisk. You search words like childish, you search words like childhood, etc. Right? So this is one good way to use if you want to use a wildcard. Let's say you want to look for children or child, you don't know which one will appear. Both are, instead of searching it twice, or you key in one search child, and the other time key in children, the other time key in childish, you can use the wildcard. You just put child with the asterisk, you search for you the word child, children, childish, and childhood. Another way that I find it very helpful is actually to use this hashtag here. Now, hashtag is particularly helpful because we know that the English spelling differs in the UK if you use UK spelling and you use US spelling. Say, for example, when you think about the word organization, now the British spelling will use organization with the S, but the American spelling will spell it with a Z or a Z. So how are you going to search for these two words? Right, so one way is actually to substitute this with a hashtag. So by keying organize hashtag Asian, you search for you organize A to Z, whatever that can substitute this hashtag. So you get the British spelling, you get the American spelling. Now, another example that will be helpful is singular and plural. For example, when you talk about woman, woman in the singular and woman in the plural, W-O-M-A-N, W-O-M-E-N. Now, for the case study we're going to look at, let's say you're going to search for Paul and women in 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Now, some journal titles may have Paul and woman, woman in the singular. Some will have Paul and women in the plural. So how are you going to search for all these things? So instead of keying woman and women twice, you can substitute with the hashtag Paul, W-O, hashtag A-N. So you search for you Paul, women, Paul, woman. So this is one helpful way that you can use the wildcard to search for it. Another way for app co-host or Atlas, you can use different connectors to build your search items. For example, you can use the word and hashtag. You will search for the words within X number of words. Say, for example, when you put Jesus and 5 Gospels, you're asking the search engine to search for the word Jesus and the word gospel, but there are 5 words apart from each other. So there are 5 words apart from each other. Now, excuse me. Now, if you want to search for Jesus and the words gospel come after Jesus in that manner, you can key in Jesus, W5, gospel. You then search for your Jesus and the word gospel. There is 5 words within each other, but in this order. That means you search for Jesus, gospel, and Jesus and gospel in that order appears 5 words from each other. Jesus and the gospel, Jesus and his gospel. That's one way. But if you use Jesus and 5 gospel, it could be the gospels of Jesus Christ. So it can be in any order. Whereas we use the word W is in that word order. So these are just some of the search tips I hope you may find helpful in when you look at the search engine. I particularly love the wildcards, the asterisk, and the hashtag because I actually find these very, very helpful. Just some quick tips for us to remember that as you key in the search engine, this is one way that you could make full use of the wildcards and all the Boolean search in order for you to build a search that will be tailored or customized to what you are actually looking for. So these are just some of the basic tips that we can use as we build as we search for the material that we might need for our assignment or for our research or for our thesis or for the paper that we are working on, right? So just some preliminaries ideas that how we can go about using some of these basic search tips. And after this, I will demonstrate how you can search for the little project. For example, you're working on your research on 1 Corinthians chapter 11 on women with veil. Now, how you going about building your bibliography, how you go about looking for material both in commentary, in monograph, and also in journals to build your bibliography, to build so that you can research on the topic that you have in mind. So I'm going to stop sharing screen at the moment before I move on to look at the various digital resources that we have. I'm just going to pause, and I just wonder whether if there might be any questions that you all may have that you might raise before I do a little demonstration. Are there any questions? Since we are not on webinar, we are on Zoom platform. If you have any questions, you can just unmute yourself and just ask your questions. I'm going to pause for a couple of minutes. I'm just wondering whether if there might be any question that you might have on some of those search tips I've highlighted earlier on that you could use in the search engine. Is there any questions that y'all might have? Just feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Reverend Kayong Siwe here.
Yes.
You have not touched about BM. I'm just wondering Malay language. Does it apply the same?
The search engine will be pretty much, the wildcards, everything will be similar. But in BM, the words will be different. Just like the word child and childish, you'll be very different. So I would imagine BM, you will probably have used your imbohan, you know, like you want to look for a word didate, you know, you may put a wildcard in front. Maybe you'll be looking at pen didate or something like that. You just have to try it out and see whether that works or not. But I do understand that for BM sources, the resources will be a little bit more limited, and most of them will probably be in Indonesian language if you're talking about theological resources. So you might have to familiarize yourself with Indonesian terminology if you want to look for it. I've not done BM research. That's a little that I know about BM. Yeah, the wildcard, for example, will work the same way because you're just telling the search engine to search for a word after a certain word. What comes after that, they'll look for it.
Kayong, just to clarify, yeah. So what you are saying is most of the basic search tips would work on most of the library resources, except number 4 connectors are usually for 2.
Correct. That's right.
Okay.
The connectors is only unique, a little bit more unique to JSTOR. So what you do is, if I can just share screen again, okay. If I can share this again. Now, what you do is, say for example, Atlas, there are some guides for you to help you. You can actually go to the basic search. There are some guides that they tell you how you maximize whatever tips that they may have for you to build your search. So the thing is, each of these search engine, the wildcard, the Boolean search is all similar throughout, but they may have specific instructions to tell you, okay, if you're looking for this and this and this and this, how you're going to build your search based on this criteria that you may have. So each of this actually given you an idea how you can maximize it. Like GDTL, the Global Digital Theological Library, would have this. JSTOR would have this as well. So check that out because they actually give you very good insight how you can use. It's just that for the time that we have, I can't cover all those things, you know, but I just leave it to you to actually go and read it up. So there are actually some helpful tips. Some of them are only peculiar to their own search engine. Some are universal, like the Boolean search and or not. They are universal, so it applies everywhere. Okay. Okay, any other questions that you might have? If not, I will move on to demonstrate how we can start using some of these resources for our search. Okay, I'll just move on. Okay, so if there's anything, I'll pause in between and we can come back. You can still raise questions with me later on. Okay, let me just share this screen. Okay, let me start by going to GDTL, Global Digital Theological Library. Now, DGTL is a repository of, as you can see, books, journal articles as well. So what you're searching for in GDTL is books and also journals articles. So remember, these are two, whereas the rest, you're just searching for academic journals, right? So since these are books and also journal, you might want to start with something that is broad first, because you're looking for books. Say you're researching right now, First Corinthians chapter 11, right? Issue concerning women with head covering. So you want to look for books. So what I would suggest you look at is just do something broad, because you're searching for books. Let's just key in 1 Corinthians and see whether it can yield any commentaries that might be helpful for our purpose or not. So you just click search. Okay, now these are the search results. So what you do here, you have one commentary published by Konzaman. You have another commentary of 2 Corinthians that may not be helpful for us. You have another one commentary here. You have one Indian commentary on the New Testament by Andrew Spurgeon. All right, if you look further, second page. Okay, then you can see reading 1 Corinthians, the philosophically educated woman. This might be something that might be of interest for you, right? And then when you look at it, you will find not probably something that is useful. Never mind, we will continue to look for it. Okay, Paul and the rhetoric reversal, maybe something useful. We'll come back, but you notice these are dissertation, right? So what you see here is that it covers dissertation, it covers books, it covers journals, right? So if you find that, wow, how am I going to plow through 1,800 search result? That may be a little too much, right? So I'm going to start looking at commentaries only, right? That means we are looking at books only. So one way that you can do is to look at refine this search here to the left. If you scroll down, what I can do is, okay, I'm not going to look at this. They are searching for me everything here. So I'm going to narrow it down. Maybe I should just narrow down to ebooks only. That means the search result will show me 230 results. So that is something more manageable for me as I go through the search result. So you have narrowed down. So what the search is showing me now, they are showing me all ebooks only. So there are 200 ebooks related to 1 Corinthians, right? So we have one commentary here. Okay, we have another commentary here, right? We go further down. Let's see what else we may find. Then I'll just pick one. We have one more book here. We have preaching from 2 Corinthians that is not relevant for us. Let's just go down. This one looks interesting. This pillar commentary, first letter to the Corinthian by Champa and Rosner. So I'm going to take a look at it, right? So I can just click on ebook. You open up another screen. And this is where sometimes you prompt you to key in the password. I've already keyed in the password, so therefore I'm able to view the books already. Right? So you will get the password from the library if you if I contacted Christabel. So what you do is you can actually read online or you can download it. So first of all, since I find this book, I find it helpful, right? So I'm going to build my bibliography. So instead of you typing in Roy Champa, first letter to the Corinthians, then you look for who is the publisher, Apollos, Pillar New Commentary Series. You don't have to type all those things. You just copy and paste. So you can just look at citation here. You can actually download the citation and allow it to download. And then when you click on it, you can see the citation you download, then you just copy and paste into your Word document. That means it will cite for you already the full citation of this book. So that is one thing that would be helpful. So what you do is, let's read online. Close. Let me enable pop-up. So now I can actually read the entire book already. So the section that I'm looking for will be actually probably here, 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Then all on women and worship, right? The first 11. So here you can start to read all the ebooks and even give you the page number here, right? Let's say it tells you page whatever, you can see that page 694. So you can even have all the page number as you scroll through. So basically you can read the entire commentary here already. You want, there's a word here that you can print, or you can print, you can look at the various frames that you want. You can search for keywords as well, right? If you want to search here, right? So this is one way of you looking at this particular commentary on 1 Corinthians. So this is one way that you go. So you can already view this commentary, 1 Corinthians already. So let's go back to the search results. Okay, so let's look at some other possible books that I might be interested in. Say for example, let's look at this particular book by Hans Koselmann. Again, this is a book that you can access, and what you do is we are looking at you can just pick which chapter is relevant. So we are looking at chapter 11, right? So you can just go down. You can just either download it in PDF, or you can just click on it, and then you can actually access this particular ebook. And there you go. Okay, then you can read the entire section on women in divine worship. So this is a commentary by Hans Koselmann, and you can actually read this, and you can have access to this as well, right? So for example, if you need to cite this book, right, for your bibliography, one way is to cite from here. You can click cite, and then you can choose a citation style. For us in STM, we use a Turabian or the Chicago method. So you can just click on Chicago method here, and then you format, then you can just copy and paste here all this, and then copy and paste into your Word document. Of course, when you copy, you may have to check insert missing name. So some names are actually missing here, right? So you can just copy and paste. So that's one way for you to build a bibliography without you typing anything. So if you actually use one of those reference software like EndNotes or RefWorks or RIS, you can just export it to EndNote, export it to RefWorks. You can actually do that. So not a problem, right? So there's one more way of you looking at it. So we have looked at some books that you can look at, right? So there's really 2 or 3 or even 4 books that you may freely consult here by going to GDTL. Now, what about, okay, now we are done with books already. We don't want books already. We just want to look at journal article. So just click on article. You just narrow down to journal articles. But again, you see there's 1,446, right? So what you want to do is you may want to narrow according to the year. Maybe just look at the last 10 years. No need to look at in the 19th century, early 20th century. So just look at what you can find in the last 10 years. And you might want to narrow down to put 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and see what you get. You will narrow it down further. Right, so let's narrow it down to the last 10 years and see what you have, and then click on articles only. That also, you already got 456. There you have all these essays that you can look at, like gender versus marital concerns. Does 1 Corinthians address the issue of male, female, or husband and wife? So if you feel okay, this is something interesting, you click on full text, and then you lead on. It will lead you to the full article, which is part of Tyndale Bulletin. Now, the only difficulty is Tyndale Bulletin, you have to go through this range and see which is the essay that you are looking for, and then you can click on the particular essay that you're looking at, right? So it just gives you the whole page here. So you just have to scroll and find for the relevant essay you want to look at, or you can just search the essay just now you're looking for. That's one more way. Okay, another way is if you look further down and say, okay, veiling among men in Roman calling. This sounds interesting as well. Okay, maybe I should just, I want to copy the citation first. Okay. So if for me, so here you go. This is a citation. You just copy and paste into your Word document. You're building your bibliography instead of you typing everything in. Right. So that's one more way to do it. Then you can just key in, look at the full text again. Okay, so here you can, you want to download, you just click download. You just don't want to read it anymore. You just want to save time, just download it. Okay, there you go. This all in PDF form, Veiling Among Men in Roman Corinth, and then you can just download into your computer. You're done, right? Now, another way that you could possibly do it instead of downloading, you could actually save it in this particular global GDTL as well. But I normally don't recommend you saving it because sometimes when you save it, it's only valid for 1 day or 2 days, or it may just be erased. So I won't recommend you from saving. If you want, you can actually email it to yourself, or the easiest is immediately download, click on the full text and download to your computer, to your device. So that is the easiest way of managing this particular software, right? So this global GDTL, right? So this is ebooks and together with journals. And so this is one way that you could go around searching for it. So let me close some of these tabs that we have opened, and we are done with GDTL. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing screen and just pause a moment. Are there any questions? Are y'all clear on the little demo? I know I'm going pretty fast here and there, but if there's anything you want me to repeat or you want me to explain again, yeah, please feel free to ask any questions before I move on to JSTOR, which is the next example that I'd like to use.
Kayong, can you explain a little bit more about EndNote and RefWorks to manage your citations or bibliography? Are those subscribed software, or are we buying it for one time, or there's certain free loading we can use?
Okay, EndNote will be subscription based. I've used EndNote when I was doing my PhD, so I have not used them for a long time already, so I'm not too sure what is the latest now. EndNote basically help you to put in key in all your bibliography. You can do your citation in there. You can do your annotation, like your reading notes inside there, so that you can search and copy and paste into your documents early on. So it's a good software for you to put everything under one place in this particular software, or where you have all your bibliography. Let's say you're doing a search, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, that's your topic. So you can create a topic, put all the bibliography there, and then as you're reading it, you are actually making notes. Okay, this essay argues, you can start typing out your notes, so you can actually do it in EndNote. So all the bibliographic software works the same. However, there are actually some free one, pretty good one available. So Zotero is one of them that is free. Let me type it in. Zotero is one of them that is free, that you can freely use it. EndNote, you just have to pay for it and subscribe to it. So there are some free ones available. If you want to use, you can. Microsoft Word also allow you to do that, but the function is a bit more limited. So I would recommend, if you are doing your thesis, this is something that it might be worth investing in, particularly so if you're reading like 100 books, 100 journals. How are you going to remember everything that you have read? Of course, you can use folders as you make notes in your Word document, save it properly. If you have your own system, that's fine as well. So the best is still using those bibliographic reference. So because when you copy something, you would then automatically generate the footnote and also the bibliography for you. So that saves you from typing the footnote, the bibliography, which is always a pain for those of us who are doing research. So these are the quick way, but it means you have to invest a bit of money into it. If not, you can just Google, and there are some free software available. They're pretty good out there as well, that you don't have to pay, that will help you in your purpose. Okay. All right. Okay, any other questions that you might have?
Yes, if I may ask
Yes.
a question. My name is Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that you mentioned about the page number.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the page number we can quote.
Correct. That is a page number according to the print edition.
All right, great. Thank you.
So you can actually quote that page. So as if you are reading the print edition, right? Now, some e-version, right, the digital version, some of them do not have a page number. So what you do is, if you look at our academic handbook, we suggest a few ways that you can cite. Let's say if you're consulting EPUB, the paging normally runs away from the digital books, or some of them do not have page number. So
Yes.
what you can do is you can just cite, let's say, Jampa, 1 Corinthians, section 2.4, then you just quote paragraph under 2.4, section 2.4. Then at least you're referring to the specific part that's 2.4. That's good enough when there's no page number. So
Okay.
there are different ways of doing proper citation. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Oh, welcome. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, if not, I'll just continue on, and let us move to JSTOR. Okay, now JSTOR is basically journal. So we are looking at journal. So when you look at journal, you can be a bit more specific. Say, for example, I want to look at 1 Corinthians. I can key in 1 Corinthians and look at, oh, that's 23,000 result. There's a lot. Right? Let's see whether we can narrow it down. Okay. But 951. Okay, let's say we can narrow it down. Maybe I just want to look at journals only. So I can narrow down to 400 something and something more manageable. Okay. So let me just quickly go through, because you will see, okay. Now you will notice that the Corinthians I key in, search for the text, not for the title. What if I want to search just for the title only? I can actually go advanced search. That means I only search for 1 Corinthians. I don't want to search all field. I just want to title only. Okay. And then search. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me do it properly again. Instead of 1 Corinthian, I should put 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Sorry about that. 1:11. Search the title. Submit advanced search. Okay, now it's more manageable. So you only search for 1 Corinthians chapter 11, right? Okay. This Mark Goodacre and Troy Martin. This is not relevant because we're looking at verse 2 to verse 16. Because of the angels. Paul mentioned about women need to wear veil because of the angels. What is this because of the angels? So this may be something that you find this essay helpful. Again, you want to build your bibliography. Again, cite this item. Then you can choose, okay, we use Chicago method. Just copy this, and then paste it in your Word document. And you can actually do that. Of course, if you have, you're using one of those standard reference software, you can just export it here. Okay, and you can actually view them if you want in JSTOR. That this is the preview you can see, and then you can read through, or you can download this particular essay. So I need to log in. Actually, I didn't log in yet. Okay, then I can download the essay immediately. Okay, so I can download PDF. Okay, agree, proceed to download. Pop-up window, allow. There you go. I can download this straight away. Okay, so I've already downloaded already. So this is one way you can do. So the way that you do is actually quite similar, all right? Or you want to search JSTOR, you can search, let's say, a keyword faithfulness of Jesus. So I want to only search for this phrase. Then you can do this and search. You will search for any essay that the faithfulness of that have faithfulness of Jesus in it, and then you can just glance through and whether that's something that might be relevant for you. Now, JSTOR is powerful in one way. If you're a little bit more, okay, let's say for example you have you are taking a course on Romans, for example. As a lecturer, I often give you a bibliography of Romans, right? In my course outline, at the end of it, there is a long list of bibliography of the books of Romans. Now, if I were to do my research and see what are the materials out there that I can use related to the course on Roman, one way that you can do is to use this tool. In JSON tools, right? You see the text analyzer, you click on the text analyzer, it allows you to upload a file that they will search according to keywords. Say, for example, now I'm going to look for, I'm going to use this test document. Okay, I'm going to use this test document. Now, this test document is a document that I copy and paste my course outline that I teach on the course on Romans. All the bibliography that I have on Romans, I just copy and paste. There you can see all the results. So they will automatically prioritize certain terminologies that they pick up in my bibliography, ancient Rome, New Testament, biblical exegesis, and some of this word. So what I feel like, ancient Rome is not really that important. I can take it out. Right? New Testament is important. Exegesis, yes, it's important. Whatever this is, no. This one, no. Let's see. That it shows you these are some of the things that they pick it up based on my bibliography. Some keywords here, maybe the word Romans, since we are working on Romans are important. So I'm going to add one more word here, Romans, and key in. Then you update the search results. So what you do is you might find here in JSTOR, you can search all the results or journal essay that JSTOR has searched for you according to the keywords they pick up in the 2-page of the bibliography that I have. I can show you the bibliography after this. These are the bibliography. I have all the commentaries of the books I listed down. They pick up a certain keywords and they generate what they think might be helpful for you. Or Romans 4 is apologetic theology, the mystery of Israel's salvation, Romans 11. So you already have all this, some possible essays that JSTOR think that might be helpful for you. So this is one quick way to look at what has been written out there that you might find it helpful or you might find it beneficial for you. Just one way to look at it quickly if you want to look at it. So this is one way you can do it. Then you can add other terms. Maybe you can add Romans chapter 4 in as well as an important keyword. There, everything related to Romans chapter 4 would appear here. Or related to Romans chapter 4 that they think is important for you, they will find it here. So this is one more way that you can search. Right? So by using this tool called Text Analyzer, which I find is quite powerful tool that you can use for you to search in JSTOR. Right? So the search function remains the same as how you would search in GDTL. That's how you use to search at JSTOR. But I just want to highlight this additional tool that you may find it helpful here. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing screen for the moment and just pause for a while, or whether there might be any questions that you all have that you want to ask.
Hello.
Yes.
Doris here. So like JSTOR, it's not actually like a Christian website and all that. Is there any tips that we can sort of make sure that we get the right sort of resources?
Okay, JSTOR basically, okay, if JSTOR is, okay, in fact, all this database that we have are not Christian per se, they are academic, which means they cover wide-ranging topics. Like JSTOR covers basically humanities subject. We subscribe to humanities, so that means you may have something related to ancient history, you may have something related to classics. So you just have to plow through as you work through. Then you just have to decide which is relevant, which are not, because there are so many, right? How do we narrow it down? So maybe you want to look at the title of the journal itself. Let's say the Biblical Study Journal is Journal of Biblical Study, New Testament Study. Some of these important journals that you look for that, you can actually narrow down your search by looking at journal article itself, or you can add in keyword, Paul, Christ, whatever, when you build up your search, that will probably prompt the search engine to search for you something that is more Christian related or more theologically related. So that's one more way I would suggest you do it. So remember the advanced search, you can key one key term, 1 Corinthians 11, maybe the second keyword key in church, maybe third one key in Paul. But when you do so, you're also narrowing and search. So it might just cut off some of the result that may not have those keywords. So play around with it and see what you can get. I would suggest get yourself familiarized with some of these digital resources. So normally for me, I will try to play around with a few keywords like 1 Corinthians chapter 11. I can play around with veil, women and veil. Women cannot speak, those kind of words, feminist, those kind of words that wife, husband, those kind of words I can use to actually build my search. That you can play around with it. So that's one more way to go about. Any other questions that y'all might have? If not, let me share this list. I forgot to show you. This is the list that I curated just now for my bibliography and the course I teach on Romans. So this is the file that I imputed to JSTOR. So these are the 2-page of bibliography that I use for my course on Romans. So I actually export this, import to JSTOR text analyzer, and analyze some of those journals for me. That is a quick way if you want to check out something quick to get a sense of what are the materials out there that I may want to use for my research. That's one quick way for you to go about doing it. Just a quick tip. Okay, if I may proceed, let me continue on to look at another. Okay, we have looked at JSTOR. Okay, let me move on to look at EBSCO-host. Now, EBSCO-host is just like JSTOR. They are all academic journal article. Now, the question that was raised, how do we know which one is related to something more Christian? Now, EBSCO-host may be a place you want to go to because the one that we subscribe to is APLA Religion Database. That means to say is religious study. That means you cut out, say, ancient history, you cut out classics, you cut out things that disciplines that may not be related to religious study. So this is one place that you might want to go if you want to look for something a bit more closely related to theological study. So let's go and look at, let me just key in 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Oh, please log in again. Okay. Now, one thing good about EBSCO-host Atlas, right? They often when they index the journal essay, they index according to scripture references as well. So if you're doing biblical studies, this is just one good way to help yourself. Say, for example, you can actually key in 1 Corinthians 2, chapter 11, verse 2 to verse 16, and it will show you result that is only relevant to 1 Corinthians 11, 2 to 16. You already got 118. So if you're doing an essay on this particular subject, you see, ecclesiastical hierarchy, all this are actually all related to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Again, when you look at the sidebar here, you may want to limit yourself to full text only. Those are not full text, then you can't access it, no point looking at it, right? Narrow it down to full text only, then you see you have 62, which is still quite a lot, for you to work at if you're working on your essay. I don't think I want to read 62 essay just on this particular topic. So you have to curate it. And maybe one more way to do it is to look at year of publication. Now here is, maybe you want to put down the last 20 years only. So you can put down maybe, maybe 1995. So you narrow down, so you have 32. So it's actually more manageable. So it's something more recent. So you forget about those who are published in 1940, 50, 60, 70, 80. So you just focus on 1995 until the present day, which I think if you're working on MDiv or TE essay, that should be sufficient. But if you're looking at postgrad, let's say you're doing MPH, you might want to look at the history of interpretation. So you might have to look at a longer period of time, maybe 1940s to 2020, something like that. But if you're MDiv or PE, I think the last 20, 25 years should be sufficient. Then make it more manageable for you. So here you have 32 only. So that's quite manageable, right? So let's say you want to look at this particular essay, you can click on it. All right. So again, you can cite, right? You can cite, and then you just choose the method that we use, which is Chicago to Ribbon. You can just copy and then paste into your Word document. That will do already. Okay, and then another way that you can do is if you this particular essay, if you want to download it, you just download full text. That's it. Then you will download full text into, you can just download it into your folder, into your device, right? And if you want to print, you can print, or you can email to yourself, or you can build a folder here to store all your saved items. As I said, I don't particularly use this folder because this is a database that is shared by the community. So I don't want to put my stuff into a folder, then the next day I go in, I can't find it anymore because we're using common login ID and password, which means if you may have a folder, other people may have access to it. So I will advise not to use this unless it's a personal login with your personal email ID or your own password. Then you can use a folder because we are this is common shared by the entire community. I would rather not have a folder here in case someone mess up with it. So I normally just download into my own device. So EBSCOhost works the same as JSTOR that you have seen. Right? So again, one of the ways that you can narrow down your search is to look at this. And then sometimes subject, you may have Paul Corinthians, you may want to click on this. I don't want sex role, I don't want hair in the Bible, I can leave that out. So you can narrow down the subject because JSTOR, EBSCOhost at last index the essays according to this kind of subject. So maybe EBSCOhost, if you're doing biblical studies or theological studies, may be a good place for you to start because most of the results that you will get from your search are actually closely related to what we are doing compared to say JSTOR or GDTL, which are actually broader in nature. Okay, so this is just at last. And Braille also works the same way, right? Braille, I've already logged in already. You can also search, say for example, 1 11. It also works the same way. It's just that for Braille, when they search, they give you everything that's available there. For us at STM, we don't subscribe to all the database that are there in Braille because they include religious studies, they include classics. We don't subscribe. We only subscribe to theology only. So what I suggest we do is for Braille, you just click on subtract content, free content, or open access that you can access. Then you show you the results that you can have access to full text. That I think might be more helpful for us rather than to leave it open for you to search everything. Then you realize, this one we don't have access, that one we didn't subscribe to it. Then you just might get frustrated along the way. So it might be easiest for you to click on the subtract content, and then you can just look at what is available, and then just click on it. Maybe this one sounds interesting. You just click on it, and then of course you can download PDF. Full text PDF. You can just download it. There you go. The full text is here, and then the PDF full text is according to the journal, so you don't have to worry about the page number because the page number is, you can see it here. So this is exactly like what you see in a physical journal, right? So this is one more way that you can do it. And then as usual, you want to cite, this is citation, right? You just click on it. You just click on the appropriate citation, the Chicago method, copy paste this into your Word document, and then you build your bibliography. So the same thing applies for Braille as well. So you look at EBSCOhost, JSTOR, they're all the same. So these are some of the resources that we have. So I'm going to pause here for a minute and just ask whether there might be questions as well. After this, I'm going to show you, let's say you want to look for something that you can't find in all the digital resources that we have, right? Where else can you go and look for books? I'm going to show you Pelego and Script, how you can work around it. even though these are subscribed content, but I'm going to show you the legal way that you can access some of the materials free of charge. Okay, so that's one more way. Hopefully, we can access a lot of ebooks out there. Okay, are there any questions so far? I'll show you a Pelego and script in a short while.
Yes, can I ask a question on the citation? I just noticed a DOI and then there's a long stretch of characters. Do we have to copy that too into our citation?
That's not necessary, because that is just to show you that where you access it from. That means you access it from this digital source. You don't have to actually.
Okay, thank
I
you.
normally don't subscribe the DOI, whatever. No, just the author and the journal, that is sufficient already.
And the page number.
Yes, that's right.
All right,
Page
okay.
177 to 197. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Kayong, there are many different resources out there. Just out of curiosity, if you are doing a contemporary issues, typically which one of those resources will be an ideal to go into? Because I realize that not all of them will give you quality journals.
Okay. EBSCOhost will Atlas will still be a good place for you to look at, because it covers religious study. That means it has history, it has theology, it has mission, everything in there. Brill is more limited to biblical studies, theology, and missions. So if you're doing ethics, you may not find a lot there. Okay. GTTL covers every area. And don't forget to consult the free resources available in STM website that give you all the free links. Some only specific to ethics. Some will have spiritual formation, whatever it is that you can actually look at it. T&T Clark is actually good for theology and church history. Yeah, so it's a matter of getting used to which resources you go to. Let's say your biblical studies, which one you go to. You're doing theology, which one will have more. You know, it's a matter of getting used to it, lah. Once you play around with all these resources, the more you're familiarized with it, you know where to go and where is your first layer of attack, second layer of attack. You know, then you'll be able to build your bibliography. Okay, any other questions that y'all may have? Okay, there's a chat question. Okay, I would suggest if you want, just unmute yourself, raise a question rather than put in the chat box. Sometimes I don't monitor the chat box because when I'm sharing screen, I can't see the chat box. If the author is David Cotton Jr., how do we cite the name correctly? Most people will just cite Cotton Jr. / comma, David. Likewise, William Tree, comma, Alex. So you just go the last name and then whatever that comes after, whether it's junior, that number 2, number 3, or 4th, then you just continue on, then comma with the first name. That's how the normal convention of citation is that you can use. Okay.
So you mean it's William Tree and then comma and then Alex.
Correct.
And the other one is Cotton Junior and then comma and then David. Is that right?
Yep. You can see the example there.
With Cotton, comma, they are Junior, comma, and then David. All right, thank you.
All right. Okay, so do you want to take a 5 minutes break? Stretch yourself. Maybe we'll take a 5 minutes break. We come back at 9:05. Just stretch ourselves. Would that be okay? You have any?
Sure.
Okay.
Just now the one is only bibliography. Footnote is not. Footnote is the balik.
No, they don't have footnote. That's right. This biblio, footnote will be the same lah. If you want to do footnote here, there will be that will be the footnote lah. Okay, we'll take a 5 minutes break. I'll come back at 9:05. Then I'll show you a couple more resources, then share with you some of the tips how you can go work around if you cannot find any the book that you want to look for. You cannot find all the resources we subscribe to. How do we go about doing it, right? So we'll take a 5 minutes break, then we'll come back at 9:05. Okay, welcome back. It's 9:05. I think we'll just continue on the second part of our public lecture here. The second part here, I will just show you what some of the other resources that we do not subscribe to. but they are available either freely or you might have to pay a small subscription for you to take advantage of what is available. Okay, now one of the database that I personally would recommend is actually Pelego. Now, Pelego is, again, they all ebooks and they are academic in nature. You don't have to worry about whether this book that you find in Pelego, whether it is of certain academic standard or is it popular level. You don't have to worry about that because Pelego's books are basically books that are designed for academic studies, whether it's undergraduate or graduate level. Now, Pelego again that covers all discipline. It covers law, management, economics, and everything. So when you do your search, you have to build your keywords quite carefully in order to get the results that you want. Now, for example, we continue on with the search that we're going to look at, which is look at Paul and women, right? On 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Now, before I go into that, let me just say this is my own subscription for Pelego. Now, for Pelego, it's not free. You have to pay a subscription for it. But the subscription is actually quite affordable. It is actually $40 per year. $40 per year, which is about 170 ringgit. However, library has negotiated with Pelego that if you want to subscribe to Pelego, I suggest you get in touch with Christabel of the library, and Christabel will give you a special login, a special link for you to click on it. When you click on it, then you get 15%, 15% discount from the subscription. So instead of paying $40, you actually pay $34. So $34 is 150, 160 ringgit. It's actually affordable for 1 year, you know. That is cheaper than the cost of one book that you can buy, you know. Some of the books I just bought one book at 200 over ringgit, you know, because I can't find it online anywhere else. So this is one way that you could actually subscribe to it. Get the link from Christabel and you get 15% discount and you pay $34. Now, if you want something free and you can't part with the $34, how do I go about doing it? Now, Pelego offers you 2 weeks free trial. That means when you first sign up, they will not charge you first. They will not charge your credit card. It gives you 2 weeks free trial. So if you want, what you can do is wait until the minute you're ready to work on your assignment, sign up Pelego and make sure you take advantage of the free trial for that 2 weeks. Look for all the books you want, all the resources you want, finish your assignment, and then cancel your subscription. Then you get to do your assignment free and you can access all the books for free. Okay, now let's continue looking at Paul, the topic on 1 Corinthians, right? So if you look at Pelego, straight away it will give you quite a number of commentaries that you can access, you know. So that's one thing I like about Pelego, because it has a lot of books that are actually useful for academic study. Paul Gardner, a very good commentary. Schreiner, Bromberg, Oropeza, and then you have Adi Wuya here, and then you have David Pryor, a very good series again. And then if you look down, you also have Baker series, 1 Corinthians. You also have Stanley Horton, right? David Garland's is a good one here. Then if you go down, you will see other commentary as well. See, Paul Through the Mediterranean Eye is another good commentary. Right? So Andrew Spurgeon's commentary is very good, written by Asia within the Asian context. Right? So you see that there are actually quite a lot. They already have easily about more than half a dozen commentary that you can consult. That is something you want, something broadly on just on the commentary itself. What is something specific about Paul and woman? So let me just key in Paul, woman, and see what I have. There you have essays on women in its earlier Christianity. Maybe I just do Paul and woman. So you have to play around with the keywords and search for it. Okay. All right. So Paul, woman and the Trinity. You just have to look through whether see because this book covers various disciplines. So you might find social movement, sexual behavior, civilization, Egypt that may not be relevant for us. So maybe you want to narrow down and put the words Paul, woman, and Corinthian, and see what I have. There you go. There's something more closer. So you have unveiling Paul's woman, woman and worship at Corinth, something that's relevant. Reading 1 Corinthians with educated women, women in their place, Paul's sexual and marital ethics. So there'll be something more relevant. You got 3 or 4 books that might be relevant for your own research. So Pelego cover quite a wide range of topic. So so for theological study, I find it quite helpful because there are 17,000 books on theological study as well. Let's say you're doing a subject on Christian spirituality, or okay, there you can have Christian spirituality. See, already you have about close to 1,000 books. Probably not all are relevant, but again, you can have books on Christian spirituality available for you to read. What if you're doing a course on preaching? If you what do you want to look for? Again, you can see textbook on preaching, challenge of preaching, preaching with cultural intelligence, how preaching to heart and heart, head and heart, preaching methods, expositive preaching. So you have all these books on preaching already. Or what if you want to look for something on church history? Again, you have church history, volume 1 and 2, essential church history, why church history matters. So already you have quite a lot, at least every discipline you can think of, you have about quite a fair bit of textbook that you can use for your research, or you want about Christian ethics. There you have Christian ethics, introducing Christian ethics, you know, all so many, quite a number of books on Christian ethics. If you want to talk about divorce and remarriage, there you see, you have books on Jesus teaching on divorce, remarriage. So you have all these subjects. So Pelego is actually pretty good, quite a good digital resources for all of us. If you're whatever discipline that you're looking at. So this is one good way to start. It's just that it's not free. It's subscription based, and most of the books that you have here are academic books, so you can cite them, read them without having second doubts whether they are of acceptable standard. The only thing is that they may or may not be written from Christian perspective. That's the only caveat that I must put here. So for $34 per year, I think it's quite worthwhile. Save you from making a trip or two to STM library. That already you cover back your subscription cost already if you have to travel to Seremban, for example. So this is one way for you to look at one possible resource that you might want to consider. That is Pelego. Right? So as I said, STM, get the link from Christabel and you get 15% discount, which pay $34. Now the other possible digital resources that you can go to is Script, SCRIBD. But the problem with Script is that individual authors can put out a lot of stuff in there. So you have ebooks, you also have academic papers or research paper that are written by different people, whether they are academic nature or not. You have a lot of junk out there. So you have to start filtering it. Now, if you want to subscribe, it's actually $8.99, $8.99 USD, US dollar $8.99 per month. So that is about $9 US. So that's about 40 ringgit per month. 1 year, you're talking about 400 over ringgit for Pelego itself. Say, for example, we want to look for Paul, woman, Corinthians, right? Let's see what do we have. You see, you have 28,000. You have all those books here. Some that are academic books. These are pretty much, but again, you have a lot of things that may not be relevant. So you just have to go through. You also have journal articles that they have that is available there. What does the Bible say about family? Does does God believe in drum, all those kind of things, characters of Bible. So there's a lot of things that you have to go through. They even have audio books as well. They have documents that people put it out by homosexuality and ordination of women and so on. So there may be a lot of things that is relevant. They are not relevant. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. It's just that you just have to sift through and find what is relevant. And some of them may or may not be academic in nature. But the good thing is Perlego is free for 30 days. So what you can do is you can activate your free trials and it will be for 30 days. Okay, so this is Perlego and script and something that y'all can use. Okay, I pause here for a moment. Any questions that y'all might have? So these are some ways that you can get stuff that's actually free that you can use for your research. Any question? I'll go on and show you a couple more examples before we wrap up for this evening, or we can take more questions after that. All right. Are there any questions so far? Okay. If not, may I continue? Then I'll come back and take question later. Or is there any question so far? No? Okay, I'll just continue, right? Now, a few more ways that you can get freebies lah. Okay, one way is actually to look at Amazon. Now, let's say you are looking at Corinthians woman. Okay, maybe search on Corinthians woman. There are some books available. Okay, maybe this one sounds interesting lah. I'll just click on this book by Lucy Piet. Now, when you look at Amazon, always look for this look inside feature. You see here? So what you do is when you click on the look inside feature, it usually show you the table of content. You can click on the table of contents here. It show you the table of contents and show you what the book is all about. It gives you the first few pages that you can read the book introduction. Then it allows you to read a few pages, but after that you can't read anymore. Maybe 20, 30 pages you can read. But how do you go around working on this issue to read more than what is allowed? So maybe what you do is you can see search inside this book. I just key in woman as a keyword. Then it shows me this is where the word women appear. Right? So I can then I can just click on this page. Okay, and then it takes me to this particular page, and I can read this section. Sometimes for a book that we want to read, maybe this 2-3 paragraph is all that we need, to get a sense of what the author is arguing. So this is one way quick. Let's say if you're reading your journal article, you see there's a footnote. Now someone refer to another work by another scholar, what this scholar say. You want to double check what this scholar say. And then you don't have access to that book. So this would be helpful for you to key in the keywords that the author that was cited. Then you can come and double check, this is what he was saying here. Then you get a sense of what the author was trying to say. That may be good enough. I've done this a number of times where I need to check a quick reference, and I just go to Amazon Inside, I got it, so I'm able to double check and read the one page. Maybe the 1-2 page is all that I need, head covering or hairstyle. Okay, people talk about it. Maybe these few pages are all that I need. It's enough for me already. So I get a sense of the argument, and that's one way that you can get around. So Amazon look inside feature is pretty powerful. So most of the books have this look inside feature. So make full use of it. You might have to set up an account with Amazon and put in your credit card number in order for you to use this feature, but your credit card will not be charged. So that's one way for you to work around. So I've been using this all these years, and I managed to get even obscure books that I cannot find in libraries. I'm able to find it in Amazon. One more way for you to look at free books is actually to look at Google Books. Now, Google, you'll be surprised. You can actually find some of the stuff there. Let's say you're looking for my book. My book, one of them published by T&T Clark, is ridiculously expensive. It's like 500-600 ringgit. Why spend so much money to buy my book, right? So just search for me and see whether it comes out or not. There you go. This book, Sufferings of Christ. So this one, shows you all the books that I published with all my publication that you can have a look. So maybe this is the book that you're looking for. You go to Google Books. Again, it's like Amazon look inside. It shows you a few pages. Maybe that's all you need to look at, and you're able to find what you want to look for. So you can actually search, maybe you talk about look for keyword sufferings. You show you all the pages where the word sufferings appear, and that may be all that you need. So it doesn't show you the entire book. It shows you a few sections. Maybe that's all that we need. So that's one more way you can work around it. And of course, another one is Google Scholar. If you know the name of the scholar, so you want to look for my name, you can look, and then it will show you everything about me here. Then nothing is hidden now. Once your name is in the public sphere, everything is there, so you can see some of the things that I've worked on, and then you can look at it, and then you can cite it if you want to. That's one more way for you to go around. Now, if all else fail, you cannot get it, as I said, you can always write to the author. The author will always be very flattered you write to him, but don't expect the author to reply immediately. Sometimes it may take a few days, but usually most of the author will actually reply. I've written to Scott Haferman before, another New Testament scholar. I needed one essay that he published in a German publication. He wrote in English, but he published it in a German publication. There's no way I could get hold of that German publication. So I wrote to him, asked him whether he can give me a scanned copy of the proof, because as author, before our work is published, we always have the final proof that we go through before we sign off. So I just asked him whether he has that proof to give it to me. So he actually scanned his publication and sent it to me. And on top of that, he gave me a free book. He autographed another book, and then he gave it to me. So I not only get a free a scanned article that I was looking for, I got a free book from him. So you might give it a try. You never know what you get. But don't try it on me. My works are not that significant, but I'm just giving an example that I have done that before to Scott Haferman. And yeah, I got something more than what I asked for. So you never know. In the scholarly circles, most of us are quite closely connected, and we are more than happy to share resources, particularly if you come from an under-resourced country. You just mentioned I'm from Malaysia. I check all the library, I check online, I cannot get all this, but your work is significant for me. Can I just ask for page 12 to 50 from you if it's okay? And most of the author will be more than happy to help you with that. So make that a last resort. Don't make it as a first resort to write to them, but make it as a last resort to write into them. And most of them will be more than happy to help. Now, just to recap where we have come, I've shared with you very quickly, just like, in a high-speed manner, the free resources that's available, the subscription-based resources that's available, that you can find all those links from STM library website. And if you're a student with us, you have not got in the login ID, please write in to Christabel and request for it, and she will give you the login ID. So there are ebooks available through GDTL, ebooks available through Perlego, Script. So these are ebooks. Journal will be through GDTL, JSTOR, TNT Clark, Braille, and also Atlas, EBSCOhost. So these are all the resources available for us. So in other words, in the current pandemic, wherever you are, that even though you may not have access to these resources are available for you to tap on. So in other words, it'll be almost difficult to give an excuse, hey, I don't have access to library, therefore I cannot do my assignment. It's almost impossible to give that kind of excuse in the present environment that we are in. So all these digital resources this year are actually free for all of you. So make full use for it for all your research. That will be the encouragement that I can give you, right? Because we spend so much money subscribing to it, and it's now free for you. Make full use of it. We don't know next year whether it'll be free again for you all or not, but at least this year it is. So enjoy all these resources, and then make full use of the handout that I put in the Chonyi has kindly put it up in the chat box, and I will update this handout on and off, and I will normally put it up in our KL Center folder for students, so you can check on the folder, and then if there's any updated version, then you can just download the latest version. That's just some tips for you. Hopefully, it makes your research more interesting and you're able to carry out doing your research, even in the present situation, that there's no lack of resources for you. And thank you for joining us for this evening. I hope this has been helpful for you to show you what are available out there for you to use. So if there's any questions that you might have, yeah, feel free. I'll try to answer to the best that we can. Of course, we have some of my other colleagues here with us as well. Elaine can help answer some of the questions. I may not know all the answers. Okay. Yeah. So anything at all you might want to ask me. Yeah, just feel free to do so. Okay, Paula asked, is PDF Drive an illegal platform? I really do not know. I didn't use PDF Drive. It seems to me that I'm not sure whether it's legal or not, but I didn't want to use it. Partly as an author myself, I try to respect copyrights, so I don't use it. Okay. Oh yeah, Paul, also you asked a question about VPN is a factor in accessing theological content. I'm not so sure, but what I do know is that some of the content is country specific. Say for example, Pelego, right? Pelego subscription in Malaysia is $40 without the discount. But if you go to Singapore, it's actually much higher. I think it's double the amount. It's $80 in Singapore. So a lot of these subscriptions are actually country specific. If I can allow me to share screen one more time. I didn't show you all this. Another resource that you may have is actually Society of Biblical Literature. Now, Society of Biblical Literature has this whole complete list of online books. All this, you see, these are all biblical study, OT and NT only. You see, there are hundreds of books available here, and then it's available for Malaysia free of charge. So it's country specific. So they capture by IP address. So I'm not sure, let's say you're in Singapore, technically you can't have access to all these books, right? How do you go about accessing it? I'm not sure whether VPN might work or not. I'm not sure whether it works or not. I really do not know, but SBL has all these resources. The only difficulty is you need to work around you need to look at the search here to look for the books that you want, right? Let's say, or you have to look at, say for example, monograph series, and then it shows you these are all the books that you can actually download free of charge. They're all in biblical studies. So it's a matter of you plowing through one by one, like International Voices of Biblical Studies. Again, it has quite a number of books already. Our colleague contributed to it. I think, Elaine, your book is, the essay you contributed is here, right?
Yes.
Is it Reading Ruth?
Few copies are. Yes, Ruth, and also Reading Ecclesiastes in Asia, where Dr. Peter Lau is one of the editors.
So there, for Elaine here, by Peter Lau, Reading Ecclesiastes, you can find Elaine's work here, and also Reading Ruth in Asia. You can download, these are legal. So you have to do it in Malaysia IP address, right? So if you want to read Elaine's scholarly contribution, so they are all here as well. So this is one way that you can go around looking at it. So the address, the website address is all in the handout that I gave you. So this is one more way you can do it. So I'm not sure whether if you are in Singapore, you use a VPN, Malaysia, India, or whatever, you can access it. I really do not know. I think you can. Whether it's legal or not, I really do not know. I leave it to your individual conscience. So that's one more way that you can get additional resources.
Okay, thanks, Kayu. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul. Yep. Okay, any other questions that y'all might have?
It is. I think it is fair to say that as long as we want to search something and we really want to correct something out from the online resources, actually there are many ways. Actually, when I did my doctoral research, I did some of the ways you mentioned. For example, Google Books, because we couldn't have access to those books. Those are from big libraries, and we are in Malaysia, and I can't travel too often. So I actually completed some of my important bibliography by reading Google Books. So what you mentioned is actually very handy. I'm glad that you share this to students. Thanks.
Yeah, so these are some ways. Okay, normally I would say for if you really need to access a book for your own research, I think that's fine. That's I mean, some of us may use PDF drive. I think that's fine as long as we are not commercializing it. I would say most authors are okay. Elaine will agree. Like we all publish our books, right? We all don't get much royalty. Royalty is very pathetic. It's not out to make money, so it's okay. Freely available to all. So these are some ways that you can do it. Particularly if you are doing postgraduate studies, you might find sometimes it's hard to get resources, but these are easily available for us. Okay, any other questions that you may have or anything that you all might want to share? Okay, if not, happy browsing, happy searching, and happy digging through. I mean, it takes a bit of getting used to it. After a while, each one of us will probably develop our preferred digital resources to go to. I think that's fine, as long as it works for you, you are able to get hold of the material that you want. I think that would be great. So these are just tips for you that you can make full use of it. So yeah, enjoy researching, right? If there's any last one or two questions, right? I didn't cover all the resources because in the interest of time, but they all work pretty much the same, just to expose you that there are a lot of things out there that you can make full use of it.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, can I just close in a short word of prayer and then we'll end our session. Let's pray. Father, we give you thanks for technology. We give you thanks. There are ways and means that we could study, we can carry out our research, even in the present situation. We thank you for the labor of many who have put all these resources available, some even free, some make specially available for majority world like this. We want to give you thanks for their generosity. I continue to ask that, Lord, you may help us, each and every one of us, as we continue with our journey of theological education, as we research, as we reflect, and as we write. May we not do it just simply as an academic requirement to fulfill what is needed for us to graduate, but it will be an exercise that we learn, exercise that deepen our faith, exercise that we come to encounter you as well. We thank you for this time. We ask for your presence to go with us as we retire for the evening. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, thank you so much. But if you have any question, yeah, you can just continue to ask me. If not, yeah, we'll just end our time here this evening. Thank you for joining us. I hope you find this session helpful. Okay,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
It was good. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Kayong. Yeah.